You're about to hear something that most people will never tell you, something that can change the entire direction of your relationships, your confidence, and how you move in the world. And I want you to listen carefully, because the truth is this: people don't lose their value over time. People lose their value when they stop understanding who they are. Every mistake you made, every love you poured into the wrong person, every season where you felt invisible or unappreciated, none of it defines you unless you allow it to. What defines you is the moment you finally decide that you're done shrinking. You're done apologizing for your standards. You're done negotiating your worth with people who haven't even figured out their own. And when you make that decision, everything shifts. The way you speak, the way you walk, the way you respond, the way people look at you. And let me tell you something powerful. The moment you reclaim yourself, everyone who underestimated you will feel that shift. Everyone who thought you were predictable will suddenly find you unraidable. Everyone who thought they could come and go as they pleased will realize the door no longer opens the same way. You become the kind of person who is not chased by validation but chosen by alignment. So I want you to stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to break down will confront you, challenge you, maybe even make you uncomfortable, but it will also free you. If you've ever wondered why people stop appreciating you, why they pull away when you give more, or why you feel drained even when you're trying your best, the answers are here. And by the time we finish, you won't just understand the psychology behind it. You'll know exactly how to turn the entire dynamic in your favor. Stay with me. This might be the turning point you've been waiting for. When a younger woman secretly fantasizes about you, the first giveaway is never the words she speaks. It's the reaction her body has the moment you enter her space. And most men completely misunderstand this because they've been taught to only look for the obvious signs: flirtation, compliments, eye contact. But real desire, especially hidden desire, isn't loud. It's subtle. It's involuntary. It shows up before she has time to filter it, control it, or bury it under social expectations. Her body responds faster than her logic can catch up, and that is exactly where the truth hides. You'll notice it in the way her breath shifts when you step closer. You'll see it in the slight tension in her shoulders, half nervous, half excited. There's a biological reason behind this. When a woman feels drawn to a man, her nervous system reacts first. Her fight or flight instincts don't know how to categorize you yet. Are you a threat, a fantasy, or a possibility? And in that confusion, her body betrays everything she's trying to keep private. She might tuck her hair behind her ear, not because she's unsure of herself, but because she suddenly becomes aware of her own presence. She might adjust her clothes, straighten her posture, or glance down as if she's trying to recenter herself. These are micro reactions, and they come from a place she isn't consciously controlling. People think attraction is something women choose. But the truth is, a woman doesn't choose who she's physically drawn to. She chooses what she does about it. So when her body reacts before her mind approves, understand that you've touched a part of her identity she didn't prepare to reveal. That's why she seems flustered around you, even if she normally carries herself with confidence. Younger women especially, when attracted to someone more grounded and mature, feel this internal imbalance because you represent something outside the familiar pattern of boys her age. They might match her energy. They might mirror her impulsiveness. But you bring calmness, direction, and a kind of emotional gravity she isn't used to resisting. This is why her nervousness is never random. It's a clash of two powerful forces inside her, the desire to seem in control and the part of her that is undeniably pulled toward you. So she'll try to act normal. She'll try to hide the spark. She'll try to behave like nothing unusual is happening. But the truth shows up anyway. Her pupils dilate. She blinks more often. She gets warm, flustered, or overly talkative. Sometimes she becomes quieter, trying to avoid saying something that exposes how she feels. The body speaks in ways the mind never dares to. And it isn't just nervous movements. It's the shift in her energy. Her entire presence changes when she's around you. She becomes more alert, more attuned to every detail. She hears your voice differently. She picks up on your tone. She notices things about you she wouldn't normally pay attention to in someone she doesn't care about. That hyper-awareness is not just interest, it's emotional involvement that she hasn't admitted to herself yet. Many men mistake this for intimidation, but it's not fear, it's the shock of attraction. When a woman feels drawn to someone who carries emotional maturity, stability, or self-control, she reacts the way anyone reacts when they encounter something rare. She becomes attentive without meaning to. She becomes thoughtful in her responses. She becomes careful with her words, not because she fears judgment, but because she wants to leave the right impression. Even if she tries to play it cool, you'll still feel the invisible current between you. Her body isn't confused. It's responding to a deeper psychological pattern that tells her you are not like the others. If you truly want to understand whether she fantasizes about you, stop listening to what she says. Start observing what she can't stop herself from doing. Start noticing the hesitation before she speaks, the subtle smile she tries to suppress, the spark in her eyes that disappears the second she thinks you saw it. Those moments matter more than any flirtatious comment or scripted compliment. They are unfiltered. They are honest. They come from the part of her that acts before she has time to think. And the powerful truth is this: the body never lies. When she feels something for you, even secretly, even silently, her physiology will always reveal what her words attempt to hide. If you can see these signs, you'll understand not just her attraction, but your own impact as a man. Pay attention, not because you're looking for validation, but because awareness transforms everything. Once you learn to see what she cannot hide, you'll never be confused about her intentions again. When a younger woman secretly fantasizes about you, she doesn't show it by being obvious. She shows it through curiosity, deeper, sharper, more intentional curiosity than she gives to anyone else. And this is where most men fail to recognize what's actually happening. They assume she's just being friendly, just making conversation, just passing time. But conversations born from attraction do not feel like conversations. They feel like invitations. They feel like slow doors opening into emotional intimacy, one question at a time. A younger woman who fantasizes about you wants access to the parts of your life you don't share easily. She wants to understand your past, your struggles, your mindset, your emotional patterns, and the moments that shape the man standing in front of her. This isn't the kind of interest she gives to someone she simply respects. This isn't admiration. It's not politeness. It's desire disguised as curiosity. She wants closeness without admitting it. She wants connection without risking rejection. So she uses questions to build a psychological bridge that feels safe. She'll ask things that catch you off guard. She'll want to know what made you the way you are, why you think the way you think, what philosophies guide your decisions, what pain shaped your strength, what lessons taught you discipline. She listens with full attention, not the shallow attention people give while waiting to speak, but the deep listening of someone trying to understand you as a whole person. That level of interest is never random. It's emotional investment. There's a psychological principle behind this. When someone fascinates us, the mind naturally seeks information to reduce uncertainty. It's called cognitive closure. Attractive people create internal tension because they trigger interest, imagination, and speculation at the same time. So when she senses something compelling about you, your maturity, your silence, your energy, she starts asking questions not to fill time, but to fill the emotional gap between the fantasy she holds and the reality she wants to understand. Even the types of questions she asks reveal her intentions. She might ask about your dreams, your purpose, your childhood, your values, or what you look for in a partner. These aren't casual topics. These are the areas where emotional and romantic interest intersect. A woman who has no feelings for you is not going to invest her mental energy dissecting your psychology, but a woman whose mind wanders to you, especially secretly, needs these answers because she is forming an internal image of you, one that feels intimate, intense, and meaningful. The most revealing part is how she behaves while asking. She leans in slightly. Her voice softens. Her eyes stay locked on you longer. She absorbs every detail of your answer as if she's studying you. She remembers things you mentioned weeks ago. She asks follow-up questions because she genuinely wants to step further into your world. And this is where most men underestimate the significance. She is visualizing a place for herself in that world. Curiosity isn't a strategy, it's a symptom. Attraction is the cause. You'll notice she asks questions that aren't required for the moment, but necessary for her emotional understanding of you. She might ask what scares you. She might ask what you want for the future. She might ask what kind of woman inspires you. A younger woman asking these kinds of questions to an older man is not simply gathering information. She's revealing her internal conflict. She's attracted, but she's cautious. She's curious, but she doesn't want to expose herself. So she uses depth to mask desire, and this depth always feels different. You feel her presence. You feel her attention. You sense that she is not talking to you the way she talks to others her age. With them, her conversations might be superficial, spontaneous, fast. With you, they are slower, deeper, more thoughtful. That shift is not accidental. You represent something emotionally valuable to her. Stability, maturity, experience, strength, and that value activates her deeper instincts. Instincts that lead not just to attraction, but to admiration laced with fantasy. She wants to know how you think because part of her wants to align with it. She wants to understand your values because part of her wants to fit into them. She wants to hear your perspective because it shapes her own. And even though she may never admit this out loud, her curiosity becomes a silent confession. A confession she doesn't have the courage to articulate in words, but cannot hide through her behavior. What she really wants to know, beneath all her questions, is simple: is there space for her in your life? Is she seen, valued, remembered? Is she someone who could matter to you the way you are starting to matter to her? A younger woman doesn't ask deep questions unless something deep is happening inside her. So when she leans in, listens closely, and keeps wanting to understand you, don't underestimate it. Curiosity is the mind's way of saying, I want you closer. And the moment you recognize that, everything changes. When a younger woman secretly fantasizes about you, one of the clearest signs is the way she tries to impress you, not loudly, not flamboyantly, but subtly, almost silently. And what makes this sign so powerful is that she doesn't even admit it to herself. She convinces her mind she's just being her best self, just evolving, just growing. But the truth is, deeper desire always fuels transformation. A woman who is drawn to you instinctively wants to rise to the level she imagines you operate at. She wants to be seen through your eyes, and she wants the image to be unforgettable. What's interesting is that she won't do this in a dramatic, attention-seeking way. She won't announce her efforts. She won't make it obvious that she's trying harder. On the contrary, she'll pretend everything is natural, effortless. But if you look closely, the pattern becomes clear. Her appearance shifts slightly when she knows she might see you. She becomes more intentional with her clothing, her fragrance, her hairstyle. Not because she's vain, but because she knows attraction isn't just emotional, it's sensory. She wants the moment you notice her to feel different from the way you notice everyone else. This is a psychological instinct. When humans desire emotional closeness, we unconsciously optimize ourselves for that connection. She might start dressing in a style that aligns with what she intuitively thinks you appreciate. She may wear softer colors, more polished outfits, or something that subtly highlights her femininity. It's never excessive. It's never forced. It's thoughtful, almost strategic, but driven entirely by emotion. But it's not just the physical. She tries to impress you intellectually too. She brings up ideas she knows will resonate with you. She references things you've said in previous conversations, proving she wasn't just listening, she was remembering, internalizing, valuing your words more than you realized. She wants you to see that she's not just beautiful, she's intelligent, evolving, self-aware. She wants you to know she can match your depth, that she can exist in your emotional and intellectual space without feeling overwhelmed. You'll notice she starts sharing her achievements, but in a subtle way. She won't brag. She'll casually mention a project she worked on, a new skill she learned, a goal she reached. It's not about validation. It's about alignment. She wants you to perceive her as a woman with direction, discipline, and purpose. She wants you to see her as someone capable of building a life, not just living one. And the most fascinating part is that these improvements aren't fake. She actually becomes better because of this attraction. Your presence pushes her to elevate herself. Even in group settings, her behavior shifts. She becomes more composed, more confident, more focused when you are around. She wants her energy to reflect something that captures your attention. She laughs differently around you, not louder, but more authentically. Her gestures soften, her posture improves. She becomes fully present, because she knows presence is the most powerful form of attraction. And then there is the silence. The way she listens. The way she watches you without making it obvious. When she's attracted to you, she becomes hyper-aware of your reactions. She cares about your opinion in a way she doesn't care about anyone else's. She notices when you're impressed. She notices when you're disappointed. She notices when you approve. That emotional sensitivity is not accidental. It is a sign that she has placed you in a position of significance in her world. She might pick up new hobbies or interests that align with yours. She might start reading books you've mentioned. She might dive into topics she knows you find meaningful. Not because she's trying to become someone else, but because she wants to understand your world. And more importantly, she wants a place in it. Attraction isn't just about connection, it's about compatibility, and she's trying to create that compatibility without making it obvious. The real beauty of this sign is how subtle it is. Many men think a woman impressing them means grand gestures or dramatic changes. But the truth is, when a younger woman fantasizes about you, she doesn't want to lose her authenticity. She just wants to become the version of herself she believes you'd appreciate. She upgrades her femininity, her maturity, her emotional presence, because your influence brings out the best in her. And finally, she watches your reaction closely, not with desperation, but with hope. Hope that you notice even a fraction of the effort she's quietly pouring into becoming someone worthy of your attention. Hope that you see the woman she is becoming, not just the girl she used to be. If you want to understand attraction on a deeper level, remember this: people don't transform themselves for someone who doesn't matter. So when she elevates herself in your presence, even subtly, it's not coincidence, it's confession. And if you miss that, you miss the truth she's too afraid to speak aloud. One of the most revealing signs that a younger woman secretly fantasizes about you is the jealousy she tries to hide. The jealousy she feels even when she knows she has no right to feel it. And it's this emotional contradiction that exposes everything. A woman who has no interest in you doesn't react when you talk to other women. She doesn't change her tone, her presence, or her mood. She remains neutral. But a woman who fantasizes about you lives in a private emotional world where she is deeply connected to you, even if the two of you have no official label. So when she sees you give your attention to someone else, even casually, something inside her tightens. She becomes quieter, colder, or unexpectedly distant. She may try to hide it, but jealousy always leaks through the cracks. This is not the destructive type of jealousy people warn about. This is the early, instinctive kind, the kind that comes from emotional territory she hasn't claimed out loud, but is already protecting inside her mind. The younger a woman is, the harder this is for her to control. She's still navigating the balance between vulnerability and pride. She doesn't want to expose her feelings, but she also can't suppress the discomfort she feels when another woman enters your space with confidence. You'll see it in micro expressions. Her smile becomes slightly tighter. Her eyes become guarded. Her responses become shorter. She might withdraw from the conversation entirely, as if protecting herself from a threat she doesn't want to acknowledge. This isn't immaturity. It's emotional investment she didn't expect to feel. And because she has no commitment from you, her jealousy becomes a silent struggle. She wants to pull away, yet she wants you to notice. She wants to appear unaffected, yet she hopes you can sense the shift. Jealousy is always an emotional compass. It points directly toward what someone values. For a younger woman, especially one who sees you as grounded and emotionally stable, that value becomes heightened. You represent a type of safety, maturity, and presence she doesn't find easily. So when another woman enters the picture, especially a woman closer to your age or someone confident and secure, it triggers an internal competition she never intended to participate in. She questions herself, compares herself, silently evaluates whether she stands a chance. Not because she's insecure, but because fantasy creates an emotional attachment that reality can't ignore. She may try subtle ways to regain your attention. She might suddenly become more talkative, more engaged, or more attentive toward you. She might offer insights, jokes, or comments to redirect the energy back to herself. She doesn't want to lose the connection she feels with you, even if it has never been verbally acknowledged. Other times, she might go in the opposite direction. She becomes distant. She talks less. She withdraws, hoping you'll feel the absence and understand the message she's too afraid to voice. Your attention matters to me more than it should. And the most powerful part is that her jealousy is never loud. She will not confront you. She will not ask questions. She will not declare how she feels. Her pride won't let her expose that vulnerability, especially when she fears it might push you away. Instead, her behavior becomes her language. Her silence becomes her signal. Her reaction becomes her confession. And if you listen closely, if you observe instead of assuming, her emotional shift tells you exactly where her heart is drifting. Women feel jealousy not only when they want someone, but when they imagine a future with them. Fantasy always comes with emotional possession. Even if she tells herself she shouldn't feel this way, even if she knows she has no label, no claim, no promise, her emotions attach themselves to the possibility of you. And this is why her jealousy feels so strong, even to her. You're not just a man she likes. You're a man she envisions herself with, whether she has admitted that to herself or not. And this subtle jealousy is not something she can fake. It's not a tactic to manipulate you. It's instinctive, genuine, uncontrolled. It's the emotional reaction of someone who has placed you in a meaningful psychological space. When a woman protects emotional space that hasn't been defined, it means that space matters deeply to her. If you ever wonder whether her fantasies have crossed into emotional territory, pay attention to what she cannot hide. Jealousy reveals what attraction conceals. And once you see it, you'll understand exactly how much of her heart has already wandered toward you. One of the most powerful and least understood signs that a younger woman secretly fantasizes about you is the way she becomes emotionally vulnerable with you. Long before she ever admits attraction, vulnerability is not something women offer freely. It's not something they casually hand over to someone they see as temporary, ordinary, or an impressive. Vulnerability is a form of trust, and trust is built only when a woman's subconscious has already decided you are emotionally safe, psychologically grounded, and strong enough to hold her truth without judgment. That decision happens long before she even realizes she's made it. A younger woman, especially one navigating the early stages of adulthood, rarely feels safe enough to express her deeper fears, insecurities, dreams, and wounds. She's still learning who she is. She's still refining her emotional boundaries. She doesn't open up easily because she has been conditioned to protect herself, her softness, her heart, her unfiltered emotions. But when she's attracted to you, when she fantasizes about you, when she sees you as someone with emotional depth and quiet confidence, something shifts inside her. The guard she usually carries around begins to lower, piece by piece, without her even realizing it. She starts sharing small details first. A story from her childhood, a moment of embarrassment, a personal struggle she hasn't told many people about. She watches the way you respond, not for validation, but for emotional safety. Does he judge me? Does he understand me? Does he listen with the kind of presence that makes me feel seen? And when you respond with calmness and empathy, when you show maturity instead of impulsiveness, she feels a level of comfort she doesn't often experience. That comfort becomes connection, and that connection becomes the seed of attachment. What makes this sign so revealing is that she doesn't plan it. Women rarely plan their emotional disclosures. They don't schedule their vulnerability. It comes out naturally when they feel connected to someone on a deeper level. So she begins sharing more. She tells you about her fears, fears she hides from everyone else. She tells you about her ambitions, ambitions that matter to her so much, she usually protects them from outside opinions. She confides in you about relationships, past mistakes, and the emotional scars she still carries, not because she expects you to solve anything, but because being heard by you feels different. Being understood by you feels grounding. Being emotionally open with you feels like relief. This is psychological intimacy. This is emotional exposure. And this only happens when you have taken a place in her mind that other men haven't. Fantasy is not just physical, it's emotional, it's intellectual, it's psychological. A woman who fantasizes about you isn't imagining just your presence. She's imagining what it would feel like to be deeply connected to you. And her vulnerability is the earliest expression of that imagination turning into feeling. Even the way she expresses vulnerability reveals her attraction. Her voice softens. Her energy shifts. She looks at you differently, not with childish admiration, but with a quiet longing. She might speak slowly, trying to find the right words. She might get emotional, even if she didn't plan to. She might open up about things that clearly matter to her deeply. And in those moments, pay attention to what she's not saying. The unspoken message underneath her vulnerability is simple. I trust you with parts of me that I don't trust with anyone else. And this kind of trust is never accidental. She wouldn't open up like this to someone she sees as temporary or insignificant. She wouldn't risk emotional exposure with someone whose presence doesn't affect her. Vulnerability is the subconscious revealing the heart's attachment. It's the truth slipping out in the safest space she knows, your presence. Sometimes she might even apologize for opening up. She'll say things like, I don't know why I'm telling you this, or I'm not usually this open with people. She doesn't understand why she feels so safe with you, but her subconscious does, her heart does, because attraction isn't always loud and obvious. Sometimes it's quiet, raw, and deeply emotional. And this vulnerability doesn't just reflect attraction, it deepens it. When she opens up to you, she attaches more strongly. She begins to see you as someone she could rely on, someone emotionally mature, someone who can hold her heart gently. And that emotional safety becomes the foundation of her desire. She begins to fantasize not just about your presence, but about the emotional life she could share with you. If you want to understand a woman's heart, understand this. She does not reveal her true self to a man unless he already matters. So when she begins confiding in you, when her walls quietly fall, when her emotions show up without warning, that is not coincidence. It is clarity. It is connection. It is her unconscious admitting what her words are still afraid to say. And the truth behind all of it is simple. A woman's vulnerability is her deepest confession. If you see it, honor it. If you understand it, grow from it. Because emotional openness is not just a sign of attraction, it's the doorway to something real.